we're all gathered here. First, I'd like to thank you all for coming on behalf of the Heroes in Training Program, the Coronado Eagle, and also for the Neale family. We have here at beautiful Peory's restaurant a gathering of the Islander High School journalism staff. They're here to work with myself and asking the Neale family. We have Laura Neale here, who is one of the first heroes in training of the program. She went on a tour with me to Disneyland, Magic Mountain, and Universal Studios in search of real-life heroes. She also submitted her picture and an interview and an article about why she thought that she'd be a hero. And she was actually one of the winners of the Defiant Good Guys comic book contest, where they have 8 kids that were chosen to appear in a comic book, real-life children that are seeking to be real-life heroes. Now, one of the things that happened to Laura is that about a week after that she had been recognized as one of the real-life young heroes, she and her sister Sarah, over on the other side, were driving up in Northridge on their way to school and were unfortunately hit by a drunk driver. Laura, in the process of the accident, received a broken back, and her sister Laura had a crushed elbow. Now, one of the interesting things about this sad experience is that the intersection where they were actually hit by the drunk driver was the epicenter of the Northridge earthquake. And Laura and Sarah and their entire family have been under a tremendous amount of stress with all the difficulties that they've had so far, and they've really given a tremendous example of what true heroism is in the times of difficulty, trials, and tribulations. We're here today, all the journalists, to talk to them about what it's like being real heroes, as far as the mom and dads being heroes, and also the young girls being heroes and overcoming severe difficulties in their lives. And so what we're going to do in the process of this, we're going to have Ken Rowe, who is the manager of POAs, come up and just share a little bit on why he decided to give us an assist with this program.
Thank you, Ralph. Thank you, Mr. and Miss Neale. And Laura, I'm sorry about that. Well, I've been involved with Ralph now for, it's been several months with the Heroes in Training program. And if you're not aware, we employ a lot of the Coronado kids, and I feel by making our restaurant available to you, we're also investing back into the community. And I see a lot of future workers here. And I feel strongly about the development of the children today, because I look around me and I see so many children with so many problems, severe problems, that I think if I can at least contribute a little bit to the community and to the children, that it returns. It's a give and take. It's a 50-50 proposition, and I feel strongly about it. And Ralph, I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to not only highlight our restaurant, POE's, and make it available to these children. I really do appreciate it. And thank you, and I hope this is a big success for all of you. And if I can be of any service to anybody, or answer any questions, or do anything for any of you and Dr. Wright, please feel free to call me or ask of me, and I'll be there for you. Okay? Thank you, Ralph.
Thank you very much, Ken. And one thing I'd like to say is Ken was one of the first adults to match up with one of the student reporters to go out in search of heroes, where we have each high school journalist will be matched up with an adult to go out in search of heroes. We'll also be going out and doing heroic things every month along with the adults, just so kids get the experience of what true heroism is. And Ken was, as I might say, one of our first heroes that stepped forward to help the young people. And our other person that has been a wonderful help has been Dr. Wright. She's the head of the journalism department at the Coronado High School. And we'd like to have Dr. Wright come up and just share how she's been of great assistance in taking real life and bringing it into the classroom to help inspire the young people. Dr. Wright?
Thank you very much. I'm afraid he gives me far too much credit for this. This is Ralph's baby. I just have been privileged to be able to help the kids avail themselves of this opportunity. This is an experience. I think that all of our students are better by having experienced in the classroom and outside the classroom. This is a marvelous opportunity for young people, and I'm an educator, and I like to provide opportunities of this nature for them. I appreciate you always giving us this opportunity to come down here, and I hope everything works out really well. Thank you.
The next thing that I'd like to do is I'd like to have Ted and Cindy Neale, the parents of Sarah and Laura, just say a few words of what these last few months have been like, having lived through such difficult times of having their two dear daughters injured severely in an auto wreck, and also having lived through the Northridge earthquake. Ted, maybe you could say a few words. Ted, Neale?
Well, I really don't know where to begin other than the last couple of months, beginning in the first week of November, was quite an experience. I'm a high school teacher myself, so I can relate to a lot of you young people out there. I teach up in the Los Angeles area, and my oldest daughter, Sarah, being one of my students in my first period class, when she didn't show up and she was a little late to school, I still was able to maintain being a teacher at that point, but then after 20 or 30 minutes had transpired, and looking out and seeing that she still had not arrived at school yet, started to become more of a father, and those kind of concerns started to creep up within me. And lo and behold, about 45 minutes into the class, I kind of abandoned all teaching methods, etc., and received a phone call in the classroom, and kind of your dad's worst nightmare kind of thing. The phone call was one of an emergency from a local hospital saying that my two daughters had been involved with a traffic accident, and they were in the hospital, and the doctor said they're okay, meaning that they were alive. And so needless to say, I up and was off to the hospital, and that began a quite an adventure at that point, not knowing exactly the extent of the injuries and finding out that Laura had suffered a broken back, and Sarah a broken and shattered elbow. And so we were on a journey of our own at that point. And then the nation or the world is aware of the fact that just last month on Martin Luther King's holiday, we lived about 3 miles from Northridge. We had an extremely exciting wake-up call, I guess you might say, and now have been, I guess, fortunate enough to survive that, and life is going on, and we're just grateful that we didn't sustain any injuries as a result of the earthquake, but there's certainly thousands, literally thousands of our neighbors up in that area going through quite an ordeal at this time. So we're grateful.
Thank you, Ted. And usually within a family, a strong family, you have a mother that's the heart of the family. So we'd like to have Cindy Neale also share a little bit about what her experiences have been over the last couple months.
Thank you, Ralph. Well, it has been quite an ordeal, but God has sustained us all through this. And we are thankful that both the girls are going to be well again, and that Laura will be able to walk. There was a 48-hour period of time that we had to wait and pray that Laura would be able to walk, because there was that possibility that she would be paralyzed. And Sarah, with her elbow, she will be getting the pins out of them next week, so she'll be able to function in a normal base where she can play volleyball and all again. But it was difficult, but I think we were able to persevere and just know that we had a lot of people praying for us. And then with the earthquake, when that hit, it was very traumatic. I've never been so scared in my life. But knowing that everybody was okay and that we were all sustaining, relative minor injuries with the house and all, and seeing how the family was, we had no electricity, we had no water, so we were able to just kind of go through what everybody else did. But we're okay, and we're happy that everybody else is being able to just persevere and get back to normal. And we're thankful for our friends, for Ralph, who's been with us and such a support to us and our family. Thank you.
Well, I was driving to school and it hit me, and I didn't know what happened. I forgot everything that happened, so I don't know what happened in the accident. And I was in the hospital for 4 days, and the earthquake, it was scary. About all. No, I wasn't really scared as everyone else was, but I don't know. I was pretty scared on the big one.
Here, Laura has shown a tremendous amount of strength and determination despite the difficulties she's had. You know, she went on our tour of Disneyland, Magic Mountain, and Universal Studios. Laura had the unique opportunity to interview heroes that we found along the way, and she was quite frightened initially doing her first interview of one of the heroes at Universal Studios. But she pressed through it and found that she was much better able to do it. When we went to Disneyland, she was able to interview Matt Blatty, who is one of the major people in media relations for Disneyland, who is also a world miler. She had about a 15-minute conversation with him and asking him about what it was like being an Olympic miler and Disneyland supporting her.
Well, as Sarah said, we were on our way to school and everything, and the guy came and hit us, and I saw him coming and everything, and nothing I could do. He hit us, and just all this, I don't know what came over. I didn't know what was happening, and felt pain throughout my back when he hit us, and the ambulance was coming, and I kind of got unconscious for about 5 minutes. I woke up, and there's this lady in the window telling us everything is going to be okay, and just a lot of questions were running through my mind because I didn't know what was happening. We went to the hospital, and I had to go through all these x-rays and MRIs and just a whole bunch of things that caused a lot of pain, and went through surgery.
10 hours of it.
10 hours of surgery. It was successful, and just happy to be walking and alive. So, went through the earthquake. Didn't care about the earthquake because of the back, and so really didn't matter. But I'm glad that no one was hurt and nothing happened worse to the back or anything. So, I was excited to hear that I was in the comic book, and I just, out of everyone that was participating and entering and stuff, I was, at first when I entered it, I didn't think I would be chosen or anything, because usually these things you don't. And I was, and I was really surprised, and I went to the comic book, the Mile High in Anaheim, and I had to sign like 100 comic book things, and I was 2 weeks out of the hospital, and it was kind of painful, and so I don't know, it was an experience that I won't forget.
Now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and focus on the young journalists that are here and let them ask their questions. They've been going through all the different articles that we've set up over the last number of months describing the Heroes in Training program, and they've been studying the materials and listening to the tapes of Laura's interviews at Universal Studios and Magic Mountain and Disneyland. And they've prepared questions that they wanted to ask the whole family, because in situations like this, both the children and the parents have shown themselves to be real heroes in times of difficulty. So can I have a raise of hands on the people that would like to ask questions?
Hi, my name is Amber Ewing, and I'm wondering about the whole family. Having been hit by a drunk driver, do you feel that the laws against drunk drivers and their punishments are strong enough?
Personally, I don't think they are, because he's not in long enough to where I think it's appropriate or something. I think it should be a longer term. It should serve longer, because they really could care less of what they do to people, and so I don't think it's long enough the term.
Just wondering, first I want to thank you folks for coming in. I didn't do that when I was up in front, but it's very touching to us that you would come here and share these very emotional times with us. You two girls being of high school age, since this has happened, have you a different set of values now in terms of what are things that are important to you? I know that probably before the accident and so forth, it was important as to which kind of dress you're going to buy for a dance and so forth. Have your values changed significantly since this happened?
Yeah, a little. Like we have a station wagon, and I would never even like since I got my license and everything, I would not drive it because I was so embarrassed. But I was so embarrassed, and now like since I don't have a car anymore, I'm willing to learn how to drive it and stuff, because it doesn't really matter what kind of car you're in, as long as you can it doesn't really matter what you're in to impress other people. It's just whether you get somewhere or not. That's important to me. Well, my values have kind of changed because I took health for granted, and now I realize how important it is to take care of your body, and how in a second it can be changed. So I just more cautious in what I do, and to see if something's worth fighting over, like clothes or anything, or sisters, to see if it's worth arguing over, because it might not be there tomorrow, so no use in fighting over something that silly. So I just I just thought I've been more I just have thought about a lot more in just everything. I've just been more lenient and not so much centered on myself anymore. I'm more centered on just what other people need and everything.
Okay, that's great. Maybe we can have the parents also address that question.
Well, being a parent, you have certain values already as far as what's precious to you in life, and obviously everything that's most dear to me, next to my relationship with Christ, is these young people and my lovely wife. And it just kind of rings your bell real loud when something like this happens, and realizing that, as Laura mentioned, there's no guarantees, and your life can be drastically changed because somebody chose to drink and then chose to drive, and that can affect other human beings, and obviously it's affected our family. So you really experience what's important. There's oftentimes you think about it and you tell people what's important, and if you had to write a list, you students, it'd be a great project, write a list. What are the most top 10 in your life, precious items in your life? And but then when you have to really be faced with it, you find out that you're erasing some of those things. And we found that we're doing that, and really the experience of cherishing your family, you have to live it. You have to live it.
Well, I agree with everything that the girls have said, and Ted too. And with the accident, everything stopped. Life just stopped, and I also realized what was important and what didn't really matter. And then also with the earthquake, actually the same thing. So what is important is your family and your health, and not any of the material things that you think is important. With the earthquake, everything crashing down, nobody really cared about that. And so we did reevaluate things that are important with our values.
Okay, go ahead and give us your name.
My name is Stephanie Armel, and I'd like to know what type of activities you were involved with before the accident, and are you involved in them now?
Well, before the accident, I was involved in basically a lot of the sports, like I'd be playing two teams of softball, basketball, sort of participating in volleyball, and now with everything, I'll still be able to do everything except for football, but it's really no disappointment to me. I will be able to basically do everything that I've been able to do before, as long as it's not two contacts with everything. I'll be more stronger than I was before, and everything will still be the same.
What's your name?
Hi, I'm Christina Reddick, and I was wondering, how have your friends changed? Have they changed in any way? Do they react to you different? Do they still come over, or do they ignore you, or whatever?
Well, actually, at first, they didn't know what to do. They were really cautious, and they're just really, like, questionable of what they could say. And now that I'm returning to my normal health and back to my, just basically a lot of things I've been doing before, they're kind of getting to act normal and more, like, free to where they could ask whatever and just kind of goof around and stuff. But before, you could tell a big difference how they were just really cautious on what they could do, and if they ever like bump into me, they'd, oh, sorry, and now they're just kind of like, oh well, and they ran into me, and so I don't know. But I mean, some people, they're still kind of shaky, the younger grades and stuff, so they're really kind of more cautious still. But most people that know me more are just, they treat me the same. They just when they bump into me, they're more cautious, and they try not to throw me around and everything. So they're, I don't know.
I'm Juliana Edwards, and I was wondering what long-term effects are going to happen because of the accident, like chronic pains, future surgeries, or if you're going to have the rods in your back replaced, or if you're going to suffer from like chronic pains and stuff.
What did Dr. King say?
Well, during like cold weather and stuff, I'll feel more pain, and they won't have to be replaced. I don't know why they won't have to though.
Well, according to Dr. King, by the way, who performed the surgery, was just an unbelievable surgeon, and it was quite an elaborate surgery. But according to him, any kind of discomfort will probably come in terms of longevity, more so from her hip, where he had to take a chunk of pelvis, and he actually reconstructed a vertebrae. So there was one vertebrae that was actually destroyed as a result of the accident, and he actually removed one whole rib and one nice big chunk from her pelvis, and actually made a new vertebra, and then strutted the area with the rib, and then inserted, there's 3 stainless steel rods that support her spine in that area, probably about 4 or 5 inches. And so he indicated to us that the greatest amount of discomfort over a long term, we're speaking of terms of a year, would come from her hip, because evidently there's no medication pain-wise that deals with bone things, and until that actually fully heals up, that's where she's going to, we're told, experience the most discomfort. But I think she's more uncomfortable in the brace right now than anything else. She's like a racehorse that wants to get out of this brace, and so being 15, it's a little difficult. Being old like me would be maybe a little more tolerable, but for her, it's real difficult.
I'm Wally Arnowski, and I was wondering, can you explain what like the Good Guys comic is, and like what does it do for people, or whatever it means, or whatever?
We all get special powers.
What's it about?
Yeah, what the Good Guys are kind of all about.
Well, it's about, like, there's a box that some lady had, and she kind of passed it on to a character in there, and if the box opens, then you get to like whatever your dreams are, those will come true and stuff. And so the box, somehow the box came open, and 7, 8 people got choose, like they were picked, their dreams came true, and so what they wanted to be, they were, and then whenever some bad guys came along, they're like the good guys will come out and they'd fight the bad guys and stuff, and
Did y'all get special powers? Or?
and each of us had a special power of what we wished for. That's what we were as a good guy, and I was Flex from all this, and
Flex strong?
Flex has muscles and stuff, and so I don't remember.
Hi, my name's Dan, and I was just wondering what you think of all the publicity about your recovery and the accident from all the people here and everything.
Well, I'm not really used to it all, but I'm getting used to it. It's kind of different because I'm not used to being the center of attention and stuff, so it's kind of fun, but it's different because I'm not used to it. And just I get a lot of questions asked, and I have to answer everything, and it's different, and I wasn't thinking, I wasn't expecting it or anything, but it's here.
And my name's Daniel. I was wondering what motivated your recovery through all this? What kept you going? Was it your family, religion? What kept you through it all?
What does?
What kept me going through all this was like the encouragement that I'm gonna get better, and God helped me through this by, there's gotta be a reason for all this, so I'm keeping my faith in Him, thinking it's something good's coming out of this, and family's been supporting me, and just a lot of encouragement and prayer and Tylenol.
Do you consider yourself a hero after all that you've been through? Do you consider yourself a hero?
I don't really consider myself as a hero, but I kind of consider myself as just someone that can like help people with their pain, because now I'm going through all this, so now I know I can't just say, oh, I know what you're going through, because it'd be a lie, but now that I know, now that I'm going through this, now I can say, oh, I know what you're going through, and I'll, if you ever want to experience, tell me what your pain is, I can tell you what mine is, and we'll all share each other's pain and stuff. And so I just think of myself as someone now who could help others and tell them that things will go good if they do everything doctors say and don't do something stupid by injuring themselves again, and just wait.
How about the heroes that help you?
And I mean, there's been a lot of people that have helped me throughout this, so they're kind of more the heroes than I am, because they're just the things that they've had to do more than me. But I mean, just everything they've had to do too is pretty heroic, of how they've had to wait and patience and live and listen to my pain and just listen to all my complaining and whining, and so they're kind of heroes too.
Maybe we could have Ted and Cindy say what they think about their young daughter here.
Well, just real quick, just to clarify, she's not a complainer by any means, and I think one of the things that she neglected to mention that kind of keeps her through this is she has just a wonderful God-given sense of humor. An example is through the earthquake. That was probably the majority of the questions that came to people's minds was, how did she do during the earthquake, knowing that, like most of us, we could have jumped out of bed and heading for a door jam or something, but she's not that quick right now. And so they asked her, well, how did you do during that? Was that extra traumatic for you? And her this is a typical Laura response is, I've got more armor on than any of you, so don't worry about me, I'm fine, So she has maintained a great balance and a great sense of humor through this, and I just wanted to point that out. She really does think about other people and has not really, I haven't witnessed any pity parties at all. She's been quite really quite heroic through this whole thing, and quite an example and encouragement to us.
Well, I always think Laura's, all my girls are heroes in my eyes, but I am the mother. And she's held her head up really high, and she's been trying to do things on her own, which we kind of have to go in the other room and see what she's doing because she shouldn't really be doing certain things. As simple as putting her socks on and her shoes on, she shouldn't be doing those kind of things. She doesn't want to put anybody else out, so that's why she goes ahead and does them. And she does think of others more than herself too many times. And she's been able to just go through this a real trooper. And I'm real proud of her and Sarah and Anna too. We all have had to sacrifice a little bit, but I don't think we ever have felt that we've been put out.
Well, I know I couldn't do what she's doing right now. If I had that brace on, shoot, I don't know what I couldn't handle it. And like she said that one time that she'd rather have it on than me. And I think she's being really strong in this, and I know she could handle it way better than I can, and I think she's just trying to make the best out of having the brace on.
My name's Deborah. I was wondering, you don't consider yourself a hero, but other people do. What are your ideas of what a hero is?
Well, some people, I guess, they think of a hero as someone, who conquers evil people and, saves buildings from falling and everything. But, I mean, to me, I guess a hero would be just someone who's strong through everything, and they don't really, they're just
Think of others more.
they're not selfish, and they just kind of just try to make the best out of things, and they don't they don't want the glory of themselves and stuff, and they just try to help other people, and not trying to say, haha, I'm better than you guys, but just kind of be helpful to other people, I guess.
I'm Christina, and I was just wondering, Laura, if this has affected your plans for the future in any way, like college, or if you're going to go on in journalism or whatever. I was wondering if that's affected your future.
The most that it is affected is my sports, because I just love the sports, and I'm not like a tomboy or anything, but just my sport, I just love doing the sports, and that's basically all that's affected, because everything else that I think of that I've wanted to do, I will be able to do. Just maybe not as good or as much as I wanted to, but I'll still be able to do it and still have fun as much as I could do. So the only thing that's really affected is my ability to do sports. So with the help of God, I think I'll be able to do it stronger maybe than how I've done it before. So maybe I don't really think it's affected that much. But then when I get the brace off and start playing again, I might see that there are things that it has affected, but most of the things I don't think it's affected.
My name is Amber, and I'm wondering, now that people look up to you, do you react to situations around you differently?
No, I don't react different, but I think more clearly of what I should do, or with what the situation is. I think that just I just react the same way that I always have, just more with a clear mind of
Compassion, those kind of things?
just more of a sensitive thing of what I should do, and not just what I should do this. Just more of a thorough explanation or something.
Hi, My name's Dan, and I was just wondering what advice you have for other people now you've been through this. Not necessarily just people that have been through an accident like yourself, but just everybody.
I think that they should just, keep their sense of humor, and they should just don't ever think negative. Just always think positive, that things will turn out right if you do everything you're supposed to. Don't think that that you're the only one, because there's probably lots of other people that are going through or have gone through the same things that you are going through at the time. Just always think that things are going to go well, and just just do everything you're supposed to, and you should turn out good, fine. You should be, I don't know.
I'm Molly again, and I was wanting to get to kind of know you more as a high schooler. Like what classes do you take, and also can you explain more about what you had to do to win the contest that you entered?
Well, for the other things I had to do in the comic was I had to write an article of what I thought a hero was, and just to think if I was the hero, what qualities I would have, and I had to send it in and see what if they'd accept me or anything or something. Yeah. What classes I took? Well, I'm taking more of the easy classes this year, so I'm more in a pre-algebra and have my science and English. I have a religion class, my religion teacher. I have a photography class with cameras and stuff that I'm taking. I have a keyboarding with computers that I have to work with and stuff. And I have my PE, but I can't play that now.
What do you do?
So I have to, for PE, I have to walk, at least try to walk 2 miles a day, and walk all the time.
Just on the walking thing, we were kind of amazed in that that was the prescription from day one. As soon as the doctor was very aggressive, as soon as surgery was over, he had her up on her feet the next day, and had she not been attached to so many machines with tubes and IVs, he would have had her walking the halls of the hospital. And then 3 days after that, when all the tubes did come out, that's exactly what he had her doing. And when we were released from the hospital, about 6 days after the surgery, he said, "I want her walking a mile a day." And we all kind of looked at each other and said, "Maybe we didn't hear you right." And he said, "Yeah, I want her walking a mile a day." And somehow the bone is accelerated in the healing process with the vertebra pounding upon one another. And so ever since then, she's been walking and walking. And so when she says she's walking 2 miles a day at PE, that's exactly what she's doing.
So I was wondering what happened to the drunk driver who hit you, and has he been sentenced yet?
Well, the thing that happened with the drunk driver, he could care less of what he did to us. He's serving 3 years and 8 months in jail, and when he gets out, he's probably going to do the same thing he's been doing before. He's really not that good of a person. He's kind of low in society and stuff. He could care less of what he did, and now that he's in jail, he's probably just, I don't know, might be used to the jail or something, I don't know. But when he's out, he's gonna start doing it again. And during the accident, when he hit us, he started to walk away, and then the people were there trying to stop him and stuff. But he was just gonna walk away and pretend like nothing happened, and could care less of what he does to other people as long as he gets out scot-free.
Say my name. My name is David, and I'd like to know what your career plans are for the future after high school. Are you gonna have a career choice, or are you gonna pursue a hobby that you like?
Well, Really, I haven't thought of a career or anything. I'm just gonna go where God takes me and just do whatever He has in store for me, because I really have no idea what I'm supposed to do when I get older or anything. Just gonna take it one day at a time, and whatever door opens for me is, I guess, the one I'm gonna walk into.
What are your interests?
But my interests are just, I like
Hobbies or interests?
just like just stuff I like to do. I just like to backpack and like in the mountains and stuff. And I like to I'm a big fan of Looney Tunes, so I like to sit down and be lazy and watch them all day. So I think I might want to have an interest in taking up drawing the Looney Tune characters, or if all goes well, I think I might try to work in a Looney Tune store or something. But really, I really don't know what I'm supposed to do when I'm older. As long as I don't know.
Being a religious teacher, how's this reflected on your teaching and your outlook on religion?
A good question, Daniel. It certainly has affected it. It's one thing when you're teaching Scripture, which seems you're dealing with God's Word, and it's a living Word. And when you're teaching in concept only, is one thing. But when you're actually able to put footprints in something, and footprints that actually were yours, it takes on a different dimension. Not in that it's deeper than God's Word. It's not, but it's more profound personally. And so I guess as it affects you in the classroom, it comes with more fervor, and it comes with more pointedness, and it comes with a lot more zeal. That might be the word I'm looking for. Zeal and conviction and impact, I guess. You want, you know of where you speak when you can convey it because you've been there. Kind of what she said earlier about being able to be compassionate to other people who are in similar circumstances, and so it takes on a different dimension. Does that help? We're close?
My name's Dan. This is for the whole family. I was just wondering, after the accident happened, short term, did you lose any faith in God, or did it weaken or strengthen your faith?
Yeah, it did.
Well, did it or did it?
Yeah, it did. While I was in the hospital and stuff, I had no faith. And through Laura's thing and stuff, I just had faith that she'd get better and stuff.
That question was asked to me a while back also. And this person had said, gosh, what kind of a God is that would have that happen to your girls who are so innocent? And he thought maybe my faith would weaken. But I told him that no, it didn't. It strengthened it because I was happy, one for their outcome, one for the way they're handling it, and also that I have my girls with me, whereas something had just happened up our way where a child was kidnapped. And I said, look at all the other things that happened. I said, I'm just so thankful, actually, that they were hit, but they're okay, and it kept my faith strong. So.
Yeah, it puts it to the test, that's for sure, Dan. You're forced to face a lot of things real quick, and the tendency is to just run to some Bible verse that gives you a promise that all things work together for good, and therefore I'll claim that. And it makes you wrestle through those kind of passages of Scripture a little more intricately, and you tend to weigh that a little bit more. I guess the spiritual response to that would be, yeah, all things work together for good, and of course my faith's going to be stronger, and those kind of things. Yet, when you really sit down and you go, gosh, you have honest questions, you have honest doubts. God, why would you allow this to happen? Why, and then you question the whole judicial system and those kind of things. Like, gosh, we're the ones, we become the victims, and the guilty, the offender, he's getting 3 meals a day and doesn't pay a dime. But when you get down to it, it does stretch you, and that's one thing about crisis situations is it doesn't really, in the long run, it builds character. All the crises we all experience build some character along the way, but I think more so than that, it reveals character at the time, and it kind of shows you what you're made of at the time. And I got a long way to go.
Well, for me, how my faith honestly wasn't that good with God, but now it's getting a lot stronger, because if it wasn't for Him, I don't think I would have been able to handle as much as I have been, with knowing that I'm going to be getting a lot better, and a lot of things. Through this, I've been able to depend on Him a lot more, and my faith has grown a lot, and I'm just thinking of what He can do, because He's just so powerful, and He can do so much. So now my faith has grown a lot through all this.
Oh, hi, my name's Deborah. I was wondering, of all the tours you went on Disneyland and Magic Mountain and you talked to a lot of people, which person did you most enjoy talking to?
For everything that's gone on, I can't remember their names or anything, so I didn't really have a favorite. So I guess at the time, because when I was just a lot more has happened to me, and like my appetite and everything is gone and stuff. So I think then my favorite person to talk to was like the people that gave you the food, just like the guys that gave your order to. So I really didn't have a favorite.
Okay, I think that's probably enough questions for this family. And again, we'd like to thank the Neales for coming here and just giving of their time, that you might be able to see what sheer heroism is in the family and among young people, and that you would keep this as an example in your own lives when things get difficult, that you would rise up and overcome them, because here you have an example of a young girl that really has, and a family that's really supported her. So I'd like you all to give the Neale family a round of applause for coming down. And again, I'd like to thank Dr. Wright for making all this possible and bringing real life into the classroom and helping the young people learn to write. And also we'd like to thank Ken Rowe right behind us here of POEs, and just his generosity in allowing them to come down and have dinner here. So again, I'd like to thank you very much for watching this, and ask you to look for the hero within yourself and be a good example to others. Thank you.